Hey guys, it is Friday evening and we've got another Speedway chat show. Here is my mate, Childsy.
Hello. Yeah, you go sit over there now. Hey guys, how are ya? Hey Jezza.
You alright? How are you?
Oh mate, this week I've been flat out like a lizard drinking, haven't I? I'm absolutely knackered. Couldn't get a guest that I'd lined up for tonight. Big disappointment. Only around timings though.
Yeah.
Just to update everyone, I was super excited about potentially putting something together for tonight, but just the timings of everyone, we just couldn't get a time that all of them were free. But so we shuffled things around, and tonight's guest will give us a massive insight, hopefully, to the world of SGPs. A little bit of a clue who this guy is. We'll touch on his career. Probably one of the best riders to ever come out of his country, technically.
It's probably true.
Yeah, so yeah, apologies. I just woke up as well, haven't I? I'm a mess. Can't believe how this way I'm just exhausted. But anyway, moving on.
We have got a intro for this person. He sent me this earlier, so I am going to get this up right now. So here's the intro to our special guest for the Friday night Speedway chat show.
So welcome to Brain Box Challenge, the program that will help you remember where you left the remote control. Not that we want you to use it for the next half hour, as our competitors battle it out in games of language, logic, memory and maths. Our reigning Brain Box champion is Philip Morris, a professional Speedway rider, and he'll have to be firing on all cylinders to...
There you go.
There we go. Mr. Phil Morris, how are you?
Phil, the Speedway Grand Prix race director nonetheless.
That's the one, yeah.
How the devil are you, mate?
I'm still managing to flag it now. It's all good, mate. Apart from, obviously, same as everyone else in lockdown. Yeah, all my side family and everyone I know is good, so we're all good.
Obviously, there's going to be a lot of questions, Phil. We won't beat around the bush. Just tell us off the bat what you know and put an end to any sort of questions, and then we'll move on if possible. If there's any news, we did have you coming on later, you know, hopefully in the event that something was announced and we could get some, you know, first out of you. But this thing's dragging on. So what do you know and what can you tell us?
Well, obviously, I think we're all in the same boats with regards not knowing what the government's going to do, and BSI and Speedway Grand Prix and FIM, we're all dictated to by what governments are doing at the moment. At the moment, we're a sort of trans-global company. We need to work in different countries, whether it's Britain, Poland, Denmark, Sweden, Czech Republic. I don't know, is that have you got a little hamster on a wheel or something, Shane?
Yeah. I think your dog's chewing something or something. What's going on?
Oh, yeah. Nala, come here.
He's not happy with the news about the Grand Prix yet, no.
Showtime. Hang on. You carry on, Phil.
Yeah, so basically, we're at the moment at the mercy of the government. So if we're allowed to have events with crowds and the borders are open, then we're going to be going for Grand Prix. And we're still planning on that. Obviously, every week it changes, as you can well imagine with everything. You know, we're still sat at home now. We're not allowed to really go out. But you look at what Poland are doing, what Premier League football is starting to try and do, what German football are doing it without crowds. There's obviously possibilities of these things happening. I can't go into too much details on that, but I would really hope, and I'm fairly confident there will be some kind of Grand Prix this year. Maybe not extensive as it was, but there will be, I hope, and I believe there will be. Can't really divulge and go into too much details because it's not my job. Yes, I own the rights for the sport. They're the ones that, you know, perhaps you got someone from there on, they can give you, you know, I'm held to keep things under my hat until things are announced official. So can't really give you any more. The ones that's still on at the moment. The question is there going to be 40,000 fans allowed in Cardiff? Will the hospital be put down? These are questions I can't really answer. The government, we have to look to the government on that. So we're waiting for the government to make the decisions. Once they make decisions, we'll follow on with that.
Yeah, look, really appreciate your honesty there, mate. That's yeah. I think what's ominous now for mass gatherings and places like the Principality Stadium and other venues for different things is this sort of thing about, is there going to be a second peak? Is there going to be another wave which are going to take over these venues and put a halt to anything? It's still troubling times. Us here in Wales, we're apparently on still full lockdown, but you couldn't tell it if you're out and about today. So that the mixed messages are certainly confusing a lot of people, I reckon.
Yeah, and I think it's good. I was speaking to Jerry earlier about these hospitals they built, the one in Excel, Birmingham, London, Manchester, and Cardiff. There's nobody in them now, but they don't want to close them down because in case there is a second peak, So there's no real people in them at the moment. They're sort of laying there, but they're dormant. They don't want to obviously pull them down at the moment. Excel Central or Millennium's Principality now, sorry. They're dormant more than anything. So like what you said, could we have a second where it goes off the charts again?
No.
So who knows on that?
I'm fighting with the dog, sorry. Craig Smee always comes up with a good, and Jerry, you got that one? I think the last comment to come on. Not a bad suggestion, actually. What do you think of this, Phil?
If there's only one event to be run this year, then at the end of the day, but again, these are speculating. We've got stadiums, we'll take Grand Prix, we're just waiting on governments, One-off World Final, if there was only one Grand Prix to be run, it would be a one-off World Final. But I'm hoping it wouldn't come to that little. And there's lots more things coming with them when you have a small series. At the end of the day, I would hope it's going to be over the half of what it is at least. What we're looking at, I don't think it's a plan Z, let's say. It's there, if need be. But at the moment, we want to try A, B, C, D, F, G. So one-off World Final, yeah, of course, it's an option, but it's the back of the queue at the moment.
And for everyone watching as well, sorry, we're going to have subtitles for Phil, obviously because of his Welsh accent. If they're not coming through, we apologise in advance.
Yeah, they're not coming through online.
So Phil, from top to middle Premier League rider, dabbled in Elite League, to Grand Prix race director. How'd that come about?
Well, it's still a bit of I'm very privileged and honoured, I'll be honest with you. Putting all the rubbish aside, I really am, to have this job. It's probably, once you finish your career as a racer, which happened to me just over 10 years ago, any sportsman, you have a bit of a lull, And I'm sure if you're the same, Charles, when you didn't get on the mic anymore, what do you do,
Speedway Chat Show, that's what he does.
I've never stopped, Phil. Running me mouth anyway.
Any kind of professional sportsman, when you have to stop, there's a massive void for anyone. So I was very lucky that the minute I stopped, phone call I got was, will you take on under 21 British, under 16, and the dog whisperer there, like, will you take on this work? So I got straight into something which was initially good for me to move on to. Then I got sort of fast-tracked into being a sort of clerk of the course at Cardiff, which got me involved with Tony Olsen and Armando Castagna. And with all that then, about a year before the job came available, I was asked if I would be interested, and of course, yes. And then I'm going to tell you, aren't you?
Oh, it's Sue Rutherford. She told me, I can't believe you chucked the dog out, so I get the dog in. And
the important part. So I was actually playing around the golf. Bit of a strange story. I get a phone call off a Swiss number, which I didn't know what it was, and saying, would you be interested in the job? I said, of course I'm interested in the job. Can you be in Geneva tomorrow? I need days for an interview. And that was the call.
Wow.
Got a flight, went to Geneva the next day, and I had some interviews and talks with the FIM and got offered the job. So yeah, that's where we started, and this is where we are now.
So you're paid by the FIM?
Yeah, FIM employed me, yes.
And I had a look on the Forbes rich list, and FIM wasn't on there, Phil.
No, I wouldn't class it as getting anywhere near the rich list. But hey, I'm lucky to be involved in the sport at highest level, and it's something I love. It's something, I've been involved in motorcycle racing since I was 8 years old. I've had 20 years racing, and now I've got to this. So I'm more than happy and privileged and honoured to be in that position.
So, what do you do on your day to day? Obviously, we've just had the whole winter in preparation for the Grand Prix series. But what's your day to day job when you're not actually at the Grand Prix, running around trying to herd cats that are also going to Speedway riders?
Yeah, well, obviously, I normally, it's almost like a week job for me to go to the Grand Prix. I go on a Wednesday, come back on a Sunday, then you've got like a week off, and you go again the next week. So it's a week on, week off sort of thing. In the winter, obviously, it's a little bit easier, but I write the rule books, rewrite the rule books for the Grand Prix and the Speedway Nations or the World Cup. I write the work manuals, which is a massive dossier that we give to each club. So we want the Grand Prix to be the same if it's in Trelawney, if it's in Bidgosh, if it's on the moon. We want it to look the same. Okay, the stadiums are going to be different. We want the field to be the same. So we try and, teach, get them to learn what they should be doing, try and keep it all looking the same. And yeah, so in the winter I have seminars with people. We have to go to different countries and have seminars with people and try and teach them and give them the best knowledge they can to make things. And the idea is not to see anything go wrong on TV. Lots of things go wrong behind the scenes, but if you don't see it on TV,
Have you seen my mate?
What?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Jerry, she's from Australia. Sometimes she gets emotional. Can't Nala, the ticket. Go on.
Yeah, yeah. So make sure it doesn't go wrong on TV.
Yeah.
That's the reality. Whatever goes wrong behind the scenes, it doesn't matter. It does, but of course, as long as the riders and the TV don't get involved in it, we've got to fix it for them. And my job is to make sure everything's right for the riders. And even now, I probably speak to half of them on a weekly basis. They'll give me a call, they'll catch up, and I'll give them as much sort of private info as I can. And we talk about what's going to be happening. So it's a bit more of a job in the winter. It's more, on the computer, getting involved in things. And then during the season, it's quite, because I also do the Grand Prix Challenge, obviously the Speedway Nations, and I also got roped into doing some ice racing in the last few years as well. So I've been doing some race directing. So it's quite a busy, probably do 20 weeks a year on the way. So
yeah, we had a guest on here early doors of the show. Not quite sure if you know who he is. Guy goes by Chris Holder, rides Speedway.
Hudson?
Holder.
Oh yeah, I think I know him, Anna.
Yeah, he raised a good point. In terms of the Speedway of Nations, you just mentioned you write the rule books, Phil. It gets on a lot of people's nerves that the host nation are straight in the final, and I understand the economics and the financial things around it, but that's not Speedway.
Didn't say I make the decisions; I write the rule book.
Well, I'm blaming you, Phil. We've got history, so I'm going to blame you to the death.
I'll take it on the chin.
I'll take it on the chin.
It's Welsh, You understand.
Well, what's your thought on that, Phil? Like, as a Speedway roarist, we always see qualifying A mains, B mains, C mains, finals, and now all of a sudden, if you host it, you're straight into the final.
I think Speedway's a sport. It's a little bit different to other sports. I think the host nation, if I don't know, let's just say we're doing something in Britain and Britain annoying it, it's not going to really appeal to not that we appeal to the television and the newspaper so much anyway, but I mean, to produce, anything in sport, you have to have people talking about it, watching it, reading about it. And let's say, imagine we go into Poland and they had something went wrong in the semi-final, they got knocked out, and we got the final in Wrocław or Torun or Borzov or Częstochowa. They just wouldn't turn up. The fans would just boycott it. I can tell you that now. If there was no Poland in a final in Poland, they would say we're not going. So you have to look at. I know sporting, right? I understand sporting wise, it's not fair. I really get that. You have to weigh up sporting and commercial. It's the same in any sport. You look at Formula One, you look at MotoGP. There's commercial elements to everything.
Yeah. I get that, but I think Russia was a farce, wasn't it? If you're going to have a final somewhere, make it accessible to the people that want to go as well.
Yeah, I understand. In a sense,
I blame that on you, Phil. So
of course,
Russia.
I went over there, signed a deal with Vladimir Putin. It was me. It was all me.
Good. Good.
Yeah, but no, it's trying to move the sport to different parts of the world, and I know even we've done an under-21 World Team Cup in Australia, for example. That's not accessible to fans, but I was actually there for that, involved in it. 'Cause it was after the Melbourne Grand Prix, and that went down well at Mildura. You had Poland, Sweden, Denmark, and Australia, obviously. So can you imagine not putting Australia in that, for example?
Well, yeah, the Aussies would have went to see some international people because we're fair people, Phil.
You're travellers, yeah. You go everywhere. There's always someone that's going to be happy. There's always someone that's going to be disappointed. Same with wild cards, with all these things. Where you have Grand Prix, the rules you make, you've just got to try and be as fair and as honest as you can. But also, there's always that little bit of commercial element you have to look at.
All right, I'll tell you what, Phil. I knew we were going to having you on whenever you come on. There was going to be questions, and I'm just having a look at these. Jerry, can you find the one about? Go on.
So my mum's just put on here.
Why did they stop the pit? Yeah, that's the one I was going to pick out. Didn't know that was your mum. Hey, Mrs. Sim.
Yeah. What do you mean by stopping it? Do you mean like killing it?
Well, remember years ago, like Boise used to get on the phone and he used to deaf and blind to the referee and then slam the phone down. Like that was sort of part of the fun, and it's in the same in the British League racing as well now. The riders aren't allowed.
Where's the phone? Where's the phone? Where's the phone? I remember some phones used to be on the infield near the tapes. And it was brilliant. Pick up the phone.
We've still got a phone, believe it or not, at every Grand Prix. And if the riders want to speak to, but in this day and age, the manager goes and does it. It's feel. So you're not going to get the same with the manager asking the referee questions. We did have one, I remember, in Denmark a few years ago. Niels Christian Iversen went on the phone. Now, I don't speak Danish. The referee was Danish. And I know he was going off in some steam. But after that, I said, look, if they can all speak English, I need it to be done in English so I can be aware, because the referee wasn't happy with what was said to him, of course. There might have been a few explicitives.
Yeah.
And so I think the riders, I don't know, I just think, and I listened to a few of the podcasts, and the Grand Prix just got harder and harder. There's no no one leaves any door open now. It's like you don't come past. It is really hard, but they all accept it. And it's such funny. Sometimes I think, right, there's going to be trouble after this race, but I need to be there ready. And then they just nod at each other and just carry on. And I think, wow, 10 years ago, they'd be fighting.
Made of, yeah.
Chris was saying the same, wasn't it? Everyone's holding everybody up. It's not riding the same way as they used to. It's more tactical and it's
much harder now.
Whole different game.
So just to clarify, Phil, you got the SGP race director's job without knowing at least Danish as well.
No, I can do a bit of French, and I'm trying to learn Polish, but I shouldn't say I'm trying to learn Polish because I don't want anyone to know that. They all know that.
So what qualifications are needed?
What qualifications? That's a good. I would think not being. I would like to think I've got a bit of a brain. I know there's many speedway riders that when they finish speedway, they're like, "What do I do?" Not, I was lucky enough. I've got a business. I've done some other things, so I would like to think I had a little bit up here for number one, so that helped. It's hard to know what, you
blagged it. Make a good sandwich. Good on you, Neil. That's my man. Neil Middleditch, he's back. Here he is.
At least he's got enough. At least he's got enough internet to text.
Oh, don't worry. We had troubles with someone last night that's coming up on a very near future show who we were struggling with last night as well. So we're trying to work on that as well. Let's talk about a little bit about your career. I mentioned earlier we had history. It was all fun history, of course. You know, which is Speedway, Phil. You were an extremely firm but fair rider.
I was hard. I'm not, you know, I was hard as anyone.
Firm, Phil. It's a family show. Let's use firm.
I was going to say something else then, but I best not. No. No. Hey, at the end of the day, yes, you know, you don't. My best friend when I grew up was probably Glenn Cunningham. I had really good friends with Glenn. Now, I knew from a young age, we raced together a lot. I knew if he's on a 50-50, I'm going for it and he's backing out. But he's the one that will have less crashes than me. So you weigh it up, you know. But sometimes it doesn't work like that. You look at people like Lee Richardson, probably one of the safest guys in the world. You know, if he's on a 50-50, he'll always back out. Throttle would always go off. So sometimes you just don't know in sport. And I feel as long as you give 100% in sport, whatever you do, see, dog agrees as well. 100% is all you need.
Well, anyway.
You should have left the dog in Australia.
Jerry. I told Jerry earlier, I said, Nala, please, I'm on show. Thank you. I told Jerry earlier I had a bit of a story. I don't know if you know this, and I might have mentioned it to you. So back in the Newport days, and obviously when I was with Watto and the Premier League back then, you'd see opposing teams, especially, you know, Newport and Reading or Newport Somerset, you'd have some challenges, etc. So we got to see you, and we used you as a guest at Newport where we could as well. So it was the best of both worlds. We had our running-ins because I was Watto's mechanic. If I think you were hard, then I'll stick up for me rider. But the one example I've got is one thing you were very famous was going around the pole line each and every lap, because if someone made a mistake, you were there, nip it up the inside, you know, that was it. So yeah. So it was Watto and Chris Neath, and you race. I think you were at number 2, and Watto was at number 1, and Chris was at number 2, or 3 and 4, something like that.
Come on, I was at least 1, 3, or 5. Come on.
Okay, so maybe you were number 5 then, right? So I said to Chris Neath, now, you little bastard, pop it out at the start because he could always trap. Now, if you get in front of Phil Morris, don't get off that white line. He will not go around you. Chris went, okay. And he did for 4 laps. And I reckon you hit him about 6 times. Just these little nudges, and he wouldn't get off that white line. And to see the smile, because at then he was only a little nipper, and for him to come in after beating a heat leader, he was grinning roses. Nevertheless, you met him again and you beat him. But the one time you must have hit him about 6 or those little love taps trying to push him off the line, and it was Chris couldn't believe that he just stuck to the white line, and you wouldn't go. But geez, you tried, mate.
You know, a funny story with Reading, for example, is not really a difficult track for everyone, but I couldn't be able to get to the middle of the corner where no one else could get to it. There's a bit of grip. So many riders I know, like Lee Lanham's a classic example. Simon Stead's another one. Andre Compton. I'm thinking of riders that would try and ride the inside to cover me. And they try and do it and make a small mistake, and then you go past them. If they'd raced their own race, I probably wouldn't have passed them. That's the honest truth. So when people try and cover what you're doing, sometimes actually work. If they just get their head down and go, it's probably the best idea. But when they know that, I was more of an inside rider, there's no doubt about that. But
you spoke about Lee Lanham. Funny enough, I out of the blue, I spoke to him last night as a bit of a chat, because him and Nicky, synonymous in Speedway. When I first come over, he was at Arena Essex. I think he was sponsored by KLM at the time. He had KLM Klaus Lausch motors, and he always had the kit. He had the style, didn't he? His head movements. And we're just having a good old blast from the past, talking about this, talking about, the days, and looking back and just having a laugh what we used to think back then about different scenarios. And a gentleman of the sport, Lee Lanham, he's just, mate, you want to see him now. He is as brown as a Cocoa Pop, mate. That boy,
He lives in Tenerife, probably, no?
Mate, he reckons he's in Suffolk, but I reckon it's called Sunbed.
Right.
Yeah.
So he goes to Canary Islands a lot, so.
Oh, mate, he was brown last night. I got him on a bit of a video, and I just, geez, he looked like that little old lady out of Benidorm. Hope he's watching.
Is he watching?
You go back to sort of them days at the Premier League, and your Sean Wilsons, Carl Stoneware, all these guys. Yeah, it was a sort of good. Yeah, okay, they weren't world champions. None of them guys were. They were good, solid. Carl Stoneware did very well.
He was in the Grand Prix, wasn't he?
In general, most of the Premier League guys sort of did what they had to do, and it was a good grounding for everyone.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So you go on, Joe. Yep.
No, I was going to go back to some questions. Do you think Manchester will ever have a Grand Prix?
Potential, of course, but I think you've got to look at BSI. Have got one more year. BSI have got in the contract. It'd be sad to see them go, but it'd also be great to see a new Eurosport Discovery come on board that might have new ideas. So you never know. The stadium and the track, I would say, is good enough for a Grand Prix. Would they want to dilute Cardiff by having 2 Grand Prix? That's their decision. It makes a difference in the crowd numbers. Would people think I'll only go to one, not the other? Most people say no, but until you try it, nobody knows. And the Welsh government do help a lot with sponsorship. So I know that's one of the reasons that Cardiff runs every year.
Okay, cool. So I'll go through some more questions. Shane, you want to go for any more?
No, I don't want to talk, Jerry.
I'll tell you what we have got. You don't want to talk. You can't normally stop you. We have got this video here.
Oh,
and
I like videos.
Here we go. So this is Phil in 1993, apparently. That's
Reading, isn't it? Yep.
Like this race, I got a feeling that the rider in blue is going to crash on the first bend, Lance Seeley. That's how good my memory could be. It may not be. Very grippy track. Oh, there you go. See, that's a good memory from 93.
Yeah.
Is that Reading with grip?
Yeah.
Long before my time in the country then.
That's right.
Look, and you nearly come off here.
Yeah, not very good. Really,
is that you, Phil, in red?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
I don't know what.
When I first started as a 16-year-old, my reserve partner, I raced at Reading in the top league. So I think you had Per Jonsson, Jeremy Doncaster, Armando Castagna, Tony Olsen, and at reserve of me was Jan Anderson, rider that came in the top 3 in the world. And I think one of the first meetings I raced against, we had like a reserve pairing of Joe Screen and Kelly Moran. And people think it's hard now. And you look back to that and think, oh my God, like how difficult is that? And that first year in 92 where we won the league and cup double was special for me as a 16-year-old to look up to these guys, Per Jonsson, who is still my hero to this day. And I think he's the best rider in the world still, who I've ever seen.
There was there's a question earlier, Phil. A long career, mate, and you've done well to get through what you've been through in terms of the generations and changes. Who do you enjoy riding against, or who didn't you, or who did you have a grudge with?
I didn't really. There's only 2 riders I could say I really had grudges with.
Oh, here we go.
One was Peter Carr.
Who didn't?
Because I think I was guesting for the Isle of Wight, like I used to do a lot. I was guesting, and it was the first time they brought the rule out of having to fit tyres at the track, stop people from softening them. Now, I can honestly say, on my kid's life, I've never softened a tyre.
I can't say that.
Everyone did it. So I was the one. So when we put the tyres on the track, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And I remember Peter Carr for Edinburgh was complaining, saying, oh, we won't have time to do it. And we had a real standoff because he had to fit a tyre. And of course, when I found out that everyone was softening them, I seen why everyone was resisting it. So we had that problem. Then we had a few dust-ups at Edinburgh. So me and Peter Carr always had And we were okay, but when we were on track, we was and the other one, which you'll probably know, is Frank Smart. We always seem to have a bit of off track, no problem whatsoever. On track, yeah. Statistically, I think I got excluded against him like twice, and he got excluded against me about 12 times. So I'm not going to say no more.
So you dirty rider, Phil.
Me and Frank, I think we were both very similar characters. We both wanted to win, and again, he's probably the same as me. If he's on a 50-50, didn't want to back out, and we both end up crashing.
Yeah,
because that was the way we were.
And look, I was Frank Smart's best man at his wedding. I was with him through, some very good times. I was with him at his lowest when he was banned from the sport at a meeting you were at. And you know what? There's a little bit more depth than what you say to it as well, just to give you a bit of that knowledge.
Everyone blames me for the drugs. Blames me for telling her. It's that put the complaint in, not me.
Yeah. Oh no. I'm not talking about that. That's history. What it was with you, Phil, and especially with Watto and Frank, and I don't like to speak on their behalf, but they were two of my closest friends. You were the Welsh the best rider in Wales, right? Yeah. These were guys coming and being idolised by the Welsh. They didn't want to get beat by a Welsh rider, which was always that. It's serious. It was just crazy. Looking back now, no one wanted to be beat by you in Wales because they wanted to show that. Yeah, it was just, look, we're all young, weren't we? And it was competitive.
I don't issues at all. Like what? Oh, I got no problem. I chat to him now. I never really had a problem with him on track. We was always reasonably good. We had a few stuff, but nothing ever that was more than, afterwards we were chatting. There's never anything. Yeah. I think obviously the Frank Smart thing, which I know you know a lot more about, it just got brought on me that I was the one that told on him and reported him for things. But,
look, Frank's always said he did wrong, he got caught, and that does. Look, the name blame game, and this is good for this year's show, isn't it? But going back, it was Swindon. The meeting even got rained off.
But I think the general thing is, I do think what I know of things is Roger Lobb was collateral damage. They weren't going for him.
Oh no! Oh, he'd be gutted. He done the appeals and everything, old Lobby, didn't he? Sent his B sample in.
Damage,
Yeah.
I did many drug tests, and I can remember one. I won't mention a name here, but just before the start of the meeting, a rider went, "Oh, Phil, I can't move." I'm like, "What do you mean, can't move?" "Oh, my back's gone." In the van, gone before heat one. After he's seen people walking with back briefcase through the pits.
And that was just to pay.
No, but the rider, you knew when you were testing people coming. And, of course, I was involved in the testing when Danny Bird got tested. And I was the reserve for that test. So what you do as a reserve, you have to stay at the event until everyone's given their test. And I think it was Jarek Campbell, Robert Miskowiak, and Danny Bird. So you picked 3 riders and 1 reserve. I was a reserve. So I couldn't leave the stadium until Danny Bird has done his test, which was about 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I was not happy. I said, "Can I just leave a sample and go?" He said, "No, you can't, sir. You have to stay here because if we don't get a test up him, we have to do it off you."
So, yeah. Oh, wow.
So let's change the subject.
No, this is good.
we got a message from Lee Trigger saying he had a few run-ins with Phil when spannering for Mark Simmons back in the day. Heat at the moment times where all mechanics are right.
Yeah.
So
now Simo was a good guy.
Yeah,
nice guy, and never had really any issues with him. We have as you do with everyone over 19 years of racing, you're going to have your ups and downs. But yeah, Simo was another good guy. Never had wouldn't have a problem with having a beer with him and chatting away to him. He's a good guy.
And do you know what? Phil, you say that, and isn't Speedway great like that? Where at the track and in the pits is all good and well. It's racing, it's competitive, and in the bar, it's apart from a few people that you have niggles with, and
yeah.
The same thing happened with us at Edinburgh with the tyre thing. What's his name? He used to ride for Edinburgh, and then Glasgow. He used to box as well. James Greaves, yeah. I had like a massive run in. It was clear what they were doing. And you know, you bring it up and all of a sudden the world's on top of you. So yeah, I was beaten up that night, but anyway, I got better. The Australian team manager.
Lemo's just messaged in saying great weather for getting on the ski boat out. What's this all about, Phil?
This story, it was when we was in Mildura between Melbourne Grand Prix and the World Under-21 team event. We all went down to the Murray River, isn't it? And we was all out on sort of boats and everything, and you know, dinghies and what do you call them, the biscuits, as you guys call them. We're on the back of it. I ended up on the back of it with let me try and think. Danish guy.
I'm going to say his name ends in
Nicky
S-O-N.
Pedersen.
No, he's a youngster. A youngster that is. Anyway, a young Dane. We was on the back of Lem. He said, "Oh, jump on with me." So he's going faster and faster till we come off, of course. And at this time, you know, being competitive guys, we're holding on for dear life. So we're hitting some speeds, and then we have another go. And then he comes round, and as he's coming round, I've got what's the guy's name? Anyway, the guy's in front of me, and I'm sat next to him. And there's this big log sticking out of the river. I'm talking a big one, and we're going straight towards it. And I see it, and I just scream. And Lemo doesn't sort of know what to do, so he thinks, well, the easiest thing I'll do is just full gas and go the other way. So, of course, that just swings us out even faster and harder towards this thing. And like Henry thought, we might not die here, but we're going to break bones badly. And we both and missed this log by inches. And I tell you what, that was, Lemo thinks it's funny, and it was funny at the time. I won't be getting on the biscuit with Lemo driving, no, that's the answer to that.
I tell you what, a lot of people go down to Australia and you know, the skiing and all that sort of summer fun comes up. They live in a great part of the world, Mildura, right on the Murray River, a big long river. Everyone seems to own a boat and a jet ski or
What a nice place, so nice people and the Sedgmans and everything there. You know, they look after us, and you know, Gavin and Ryan Sedgman were cool guys. Anything you wanted, they would do, and it was really good. Had a good day.
Yeah, perfect. Jerry, we got some photos of Phil.
Yeah, we have got some photos of Phil. We've got another question quickly. What's the chances of doing like an alternate of the World Cup events? So it's like the team events and then the pairs. Would that ever be an option, or is that?
It's an option.
Is it set now?
Yeah. Like I say, probably for the next year, it's going to be as it is. BSI's last year. After that, who knows? I know Discovery and if they've got big plans, but you have to respect what BSI have done and what they're doing with the sport. You know, they're doing a professional job, and not my job who won the tender. That was an internal FIM decision, and I do sort of feel sorry for the guys at BSI. There's a lot of people that have got jobs involved in the Grand Prix, and so possible to have a World Cup and a Speedway of Nations in the same year? Yes, it's possible. Will it happen? Maybe, I would say, or maybe all years as well.
Yeah, we had Simon Stead and Ollie Allen on the other day, and they were saying, you know, Britain's actually quite strong in the format that it is right now, but if it went to a team sport event like before, then maybe not so much. But it works well for us, you know. But then, like, would we go into a team sport thing with Poland and then get annihilated because they're so strong, like throughout the whole team?
Again, same question is obviously Poland as a nation think we've done it to stop them because they've not won it in 2 years, and Russia have. The reality is, it was more of an effort to try and get some of the other countries that can't actually make 5 riders. So you look at your Slovenia, Slovakia, Czech Republic, you know, Scandinavian countries taking away them, you know, Norway and Finland. It helps them a little bit. And like this year, you know, we had Hungary is on standby, ready to go. You've got Holland and people like that, countries that could come in. I'm not saying they're going to win it, but to give them a chance to be part of a world championship event. And if you have to have 4 + 1 5 riders, probably not going to take part. So we definitely opened it up from having probably 9 or 10 teams to having like 15 or 16 now. So from that side, we've tried to look at the world as one and try and think, let's get New Zealand back in it. Let's get Argentina in it. That's the goal. That's the goal we're trying to get.
Yeah, cool.
So
nice.
with the how much dealings do you have with the Discovery thing now? Now it's out in the open, because I heard before they're going to go to South America and Central America and stuff for racing. Discovery are going to do that. Is that possible? Is that being spoke about, or has it not even been spoken about yet?
It's possible, but I think you have to. The guy at the top of their tree, Francois Ribeiro, he's not said nothing publicly, and he doesn't need to say nothing publicly. He doesn't want to sort of stand on BSI's feet. He wants to let them do their thing, then he'll do his thing. So again, I don't want to really talk about that because it's not my job.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Can you talk about what you did in Glasgow, Phil?
I don't know what I did in Glasgow. They probably need an incident they had with Stephen McCallan, which again, the racing incident. There was a post in the fence. He caught his back on it and had a bad injury from it. But he was always good friends. I spoke to his parents as it happened and said, "Look, wish him all the best and everything." But obviously, people will put what they want to do, and and I understand that. I was always the bad guy at the away tracks, as you know. But I actually thrived on it. And I remember when Anders Henriksen, you'll know him obviously, raced for Reading. I don't know if you remember, there was a big thing with Stoney and him at Reading. And
the shovel?
The shovel and everything. And when we went to Workington, when we was walking to the changing rooms, Anders Henriksen got booed so much. And in the changing rooms, it really affected him. Really, really affected him. Yeah. And I said, they're booing you because you can go out there and score double figures. I can't remember who it was. I said, they're not going to boo the guy at number 7 that's not going to score a point. They're doing it, look at it. It's the same with any
positive.
Look at if they're booing you, Nicky Pedersen's a perfect example. The only time I've really seen him affect him was at Cardiff a few years back when it was ridiculous the amount of boos. I could see it in his face. It's the first time I've ever seen him get to him. But he actually thrives on it, and I think he enjoys the sort of not negative, but being the villain a little bit.
Yeah, there was a question earlier about who's the hardest rider to deal with at the GPs. There was a few up there, Jerry. I can't remember who wrote it. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't. I don't want to get into that on this.
Come on, Phil.
I'm not going to get into that. At the end of the day, I try and say to the riders, look, I'm the middle of a triangle. You've got the FIM, you've got BSI, and you've got the riders. I'm in the middle to link them all together. Yeah. So I do my best for all the riders. I wouldn't send them on a track if it was too dangerous. I know I've got the respect for them. I know they respect me, which is the most important thing. I try and help them the best I can. I work with them. I give them the best I can. Obviously, I understand in the heat of the moment, some things might be said. I've been on the other side where you're not happy with the decision from the referee, but my stock answer is I'm not the referee. I didn't make the decision, so I can get away with that one quite well. Yeah, obviously, riders, I'm not going to say who are good and bad. I haven't got a problem with any of them. I honestly haven't. No issues at all with any of the riders, and that's all.
Tell me, Phil, when you see these start violations, and look, when the GPs come on, whatever Aussie riders out there, I'm all for them, and they can't do anything wrong. Doily frustrates me because sometimes I think just go have a warning in your first one and you'll make the best start for the rest of the night, and then sometimes I think Doily, you don't need to, you're good enough, but because of his reputation with that, I think he's come foul of it a few times. You've got to go up to them and go, you're on a warning. Like, do you get some stick back from the boys?
Not, at the end of the day, they won't be happy with it. But and I think Doily in Morley last year really wasn't happy. But like I say to anyone that's watching or anyone, the only time I've spoken to a referee during a race is once in 5 years, and that was in Tetro when the cameraman was still stood on gate 4 when they dropped the tapes, and he couldn't see the cameraman. So because I'm live radio to the ref, the only time I've ever spoken to a ref was there saying, "Stop the race now." I said, "Just trust me and stop it." We stopped it and I explained. But normally I do not get involved with the referee. They make the decision. They want to ask my opinion, they can, but I don't get involved in it. I don't get involved in any decisions. The referee does his job, gives the warnings, gives the exclusions, does what he wants to do. So I have to respect that's his job, and I just pass on the message.
Sure.
So there's one Grand Prix in particular that I know that you got a lot of stick for, and that's the tapes in.
Oh yeah.
Was it Wrocław? Warsaw, yeah.
My first ever event. Wow. It was almost like a voodoo doll, that event. You can imagine it now. It's the biggest thing I've ever done. Obviously I never made a Grand Prix myself. I done some big meetings, but I'm there in front of a full stadium, and I'm working with TV in one ear and the referee in the other ear. So I'm saying, yeah, we're ready to go. And I'm saying to the riders, right, we've got 2 minutes before we push off. So, and then I get a call in my ear, "Phil, we've got a problem with the start tape. Hold it, start the meeting up." So I'm like, okay. Tell the guys, I said, "Hold up, it's a problem with the tapes, we fixed them." Now, before that, we've checked the tapes probably 20 times. Not a problem. Just to explain to you, we pull the tapes down, check it, it goes up fine. Take a video of it, slow motion, perfect. So everything, as far as I was concerned, for my job, everything was fine. And then, of course, after about heat 2, the tapes started sticking on the one side. We tried to tighten up the rubbers, and then the rubbers snapped. We were supposed to have had a spare start gate, which I got told was there. So someone said, "Yes, we've got a spare start gate," but obviously wasn't there. So yeah, in my first Grand Prix, we had to go off a green light start, which didn't really go down well, and obviously the track was deteriorating bad. So yeah, it was a bad day at the office, and the amount of people that were saying, "I should be sacked because I'm in charge, it's my fault." Yeah, maybe justified, but I know the people that said that, and I'll never forget that, because the amount that I was sat there that night in my bed thinking, "Wow, what have I let myself in for here?" And Tony Alton was there, the last race director, and he said more things have gone wrong in one night than he's ever had in 5 years. It was just bad luck, and yeah, a bit of a nightmare, really. So yeah,
are you allowed to say what was wrong with the tapes? Because you told me earlier, or was that?
Yeah, it was
because it's something silly, really something silly that
I wouldn't think about. Obviously, the team that build the tapes, they buy it's a large magnet, probably the size of that glass here that it uses, and they buy it from the same place they buy every year. And at that particular year, they didn't realise, but EU law, that these magnets were used for safety doors. So when you open the door, it sticks to the walls, if you know what I mean. So this magnet was double the strength, which we didn't really know. So when you have a magnet, and you guys might know, you put a screwdriver next to the magnet, and that screwdriver becomes magnetized. You can pick up screws and bolts with it. So what was happening, when we was pulling the tape down, and 2 seconds later letting them go, it was fine. But when it comes to heat 1, you pull the tapes down, you have a 2-minute warning, and maybe another 30 seconds. So that was magnetizing the actual tapes. When the referee was pressing the button, it was the pole was holding the magnet and not letting it go. So when we couldn't work this out, we didn't know this. And it was only when it was investigated later down the line that we realised what the issue with the start tapes was, that the magnets were actually too strong and were magnetising the start poles. So there you go. That's an interesting one. Probably the first time it's been said as well.
There we go. So that's there's a world first for the Speedway Chat Show.
Yeah.
World exclusive.
What was wrong with the tape? Bloody hell.
But when they say, why weren't they tested? Why weren't they tested? I've got videos of testing them 20 times, because I always take one of the things, I take a slow motion video for my benefit. If anything ever comes back on me, I can say, well, I checked it. I can't do no more than physically check the start tapes. So
yeah.
But in hindsight, no one's going to pick that up, Phil. It's just, yeah. And look, I'm sorry for calling for your sacking, and I take it back.
You don't worry, I totally are. naturally you're going to pull the rubbers harder to make it work. You know, that's all you can do is just make it tighter and tighter. And we pulled it that tight, we just smashed the top of the pulley system off.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
it. When you left Speedway, Phil, a lot of people don't know is you fed the Welsh Valleys with some fair dinkum sandwiches.
I did, fair dinkum, yeah. Well, hey, here you go.
There he is.
Look at that hat there, what a cracker. Yeah, long story short, when I was finishing my career, I went on about 7 or 8 game shows, won 120 grand. There you go. And I bought a business with it. And I've had that business for 10 years. And I sold it in October, which was probably my best bit of business ever, doing it before this has happened. So, yeah, I couldn't really keep up the business and the Speedway. It just wasn't working. I was having to employ someone to run the business. And it was the right time for me to get out of the business. So, yeah, that's gone. No more sandwiches are made.
Someone just mentioned to say hello from your SGP fans in Pontypridd. There you go, Andy Hopkins.
Hi, Andy, and your little one.
Yeah, true story. I was in Pontypridd today, actually. Pontypridd, Abersucken, and Anisable. Yeah, no, Abersucken, Abercunnan, Anisable.
Is not near that. Abercunnan.
Yeah. Abercunnan, yeah. My sat nav was called an Abyssinian.
So how's the Welsh coming on? How do you get on with Llanelli?
Llanelli.
No, Come on, get it out. Come on, you should be here.
You got a problem with your mic there, Phil. You're talking about Llanelli, yeah?
Llanelli.
I loved that up in the valleys today. I started in Mount Nash, Abercunnan, Anisable. YN. I was just laughing my head off. And there's another one called Inisudu.
NSD. Village to where I used to live. Come back.
Yeah.
NSD.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, all the fun places.
This is really boring watching, boys.
Says Jerry there with his monster fridge.
We'll go back to some videos, right? So earlier on today, Phil actually is the best guest ever because he actually sent me some links to some videos
of Phil
of himself, and they were.
I'm old. I'm an old. I said something else to him. I'm an old fart, so I didn't release from like 10, 12 years ago. So there's not much on the internet on this YouTube.
Yeah, so he sent me a load of links of stuff of him, and it was all races where he was so far in front. And I thought, well, nobody wants to see that, do they? So,
number 13.
I think this is the one.
Up here at Milton Hall this afternoon as they finally settled down.
I'm in yellow helmet.
Up in the inside budget cargoes, and Lycan is in trouble, and it's awfully tight there, and that's a horrific.
Oh, get off it, Phil!
The first.
That was I punctured my lung really bad, and I had internal bleeding. I was in hospital for a few weeks on that one. So.
I know you cost me a $5. I was calling for your second on that one as well, Phil.
If you're an air that was
no air fence. So we have got another one, and this one is titled "Phil Morris Was Innocent."
Oh, this would be good. Where are you, Phil?
So this is me and David. This is the incident where it's a square track. So it's a very square track at Glasgow, okay? And there's big high kickboards, not kickboards, inside. So when it's a square track, like Isle of Wight, like Berwick, like Glasgow was, when they're around the football field, it's very difficult. And that incident, David McCallan came under me. I've come back across the inside. And there's no, if you look, I'm trying to turn. It's not as if I'm going straight into him. I'm actually turning the bike. And his handlebars caught on my push bar. And that's what's caused him to do that, you know. And it was a total racing incident. And people said, why didn't you go around and see him? Because at the time, I thought sometimes as a referee, if you give away guilt, because I didn't know who was going to be excluded. That's what I thought. And I looked at that and I can see, yeah, potentially I can see the ref exclude me, which he did. But yeah, that was You know, that was that incident we talked about with the Glasgow.
Oh, that was that one, right?
Ah, that was that, is it?
Behind their fence there, they had solid posts, and his back hit that solid post, which was behind the fence. And of course, if that post hadn't been there, there'd be no problem. But it caused him some issues, and obviously, I'm more than gutted that he had a bad injury, and I was quite friendly with him, and it's just a shame. I don't really want to get into it.
Yeah,
But
don't get into it. So you
Well,
don't need to.
I didn't realise that was the situation, but if I
you
did,
did, Jerry. You told me.
You
told me you had it, Jerry.
Really put me in the hot seat, That's the only one time that is something's happened to somebody, and obviously the Glasgow fans think I'm public enemy number one. Again, at the end of the day, I understand what fans are like. I can swear on my life, I've never gone out to hurt anyone, to injure anyone. I'm as hard as you like, but I would never do that. And that's the honest truth. There's no way I've ever gone out anywhere. And I've seen some stuff on tracks where I know riders have, but that's not nothing I've ever done.
Yeah. Look, I can honestly say, Phil, that our times, and it was more out of respect because you were good, and you did things that I'd expect Craig or Frank to do to other riders in terms of, Robin's racing. That's the sport. Unfortunately, it went through a phase there where any touch was deemed, nasty or whatever. It's just not the case. It needs to come back to what the Grand Prix boys we spoke about on previous shows. Those guys are ruthless.
It's got to a stage now. Honestly, I watch it and I genuinely, like I said, I think there's going to be trouble after this race. Watch the riders, and they just look at each other and nod, and I think, wow.
Yeah, I think some of them get off on it, Phil.
And we have got a message.
Go on.
Yeah, we've got a message here from Neil Middleditch. He does say airbags are for pussies.
Midlow's on the test again.
Airbag would have saved me, but I could have been classed as a pussy then for having it saving me. So
I tell you what,
Robin, you ain't racing.
Yeah, absolutely. I tell you what. Talking about airbags, my mate Watto had a crash, one of his worst injuries he's ever had at Stoke with an airbag. So when they first put the airbags down, they literally just tied them to posts that were in the ground.
Yeah.
So when you hit it, the airbag come up. So Craig went under the airbag, didn't even affect him. Hit it, went up, and snapped his humerus clean in half on a post in the ground. They changed it subsequently. So as good as airbags are, they're only as good as what's behind them and things like that.
Yeah, you only got to look at the Chris Holder story at Coventry. The issue he had, where he's gone into a solid arm toe when the airbag lifted. Again, the air fences, we're not saying they're perfect. They're trying to improve them all the time, which is the idea. And the reality is they're going to save 9 out of 10 serious injuries. So we've got to respect them for that. But there's going to be that 1 in 10 where it doesn't help and it lifts it. And you look at Doyley in Torren, ones like that. When he had a bad crash, lifted, he went under. And it's just unfortunate sometimes when it happens, but they're there, and I'm sure every rider will say they'd much rather than be there than not. That's a dead set.
Yeah, you got to look at the Jason Crump in Sweden where he hit an airbag with some almighty punch and ended up winning the meeting. And it's quite clear if the airbag wasn't there, Jason Crump probably wouldn't be riding for the next couple of months, let alone winning that meeting. So, there is an element of how you hit them. 100%, I think there is.
You can't rely on them, but like you say, and you talk about that, like I'm really good friends with Crumpy, and the difference between Crumpy and Lee Adams for me is one thing. There's a bit of fight and determination, and Crumpy wouldn't give up on a 50-50, where Lee would be more careful and more calculated, I would think. That's my opinion. Yeah. So there shows two riders that probably as skilled as each other, good as each other. One went a bit further because Crumpy would go that step further. He would be prepared to go in the fence full tap, and not that he'd want to, but it's part of his DNA, I think.
Yeah, 100%. And it's, Lee Adams, they say it was the book, but I used to yell at the Grand Prix and say, come on, Lee, you know, that little, you're just looking for that little bit of aggression from him, weren't you? Just that go that little step further. But he made riding a Speedway bike look too easy, and maybe that looked like he wasn't trying half the time. I don't doubt he was ever trying to win.
But you look at then, you know, probably like Lee's probably one of the safest guys on the bike. Another one, him alongside Lee Adams and Per Jonsson, another one. I raced with Per Jonsson for 3 years. I'd seen him come off the bike once, and I was the first Ben Bunchen. The most safest guy I've seen on a bike, and then look what happened. You just don't know. Sometimes you turn roll the dice one day, and it's just, like I say, when it's time, it's time sometimes for people to have a bad one, unfortunately.
We just got a comment from Louis Kerr as well, Jez.
Yeah.
Somehow I went through the Peterborough gate at the Fours, and then a few knock-on comments. I'll never forget the day. Lucky you're still here. I remember starting. Yeah. That
was nasty, wasn't it? I watched the video.
Not familiar with that one. But Peterborough's got some history for me. So in terms of, I used to spinner, or in the early days not growing up, but I used to spinner for a guy called Mr. Excitement, Mick Poole in Australia. He used to ride for Peterborough, the blonde bombshell. He actually was dead for 8 seconds at Peterborough. Don't know if anyone knows that. He had a nasty crash. He showed me the video at his house one night. He had a crash down the back straight of Peterborough, and he was actually clinically dead for 8 or 9 seconds. So when I first come to the country, Peterborough was always, you know, a track I wanted to visit for different reasons. But it's certainly a split this game, isn't it? You never know what off's going to be the one that does any damage or not.
It's a ruthless sport, and we talk about sport. And I just thought then, not even on track, we've got to think about someone like Chris Schramm, what's just happened. I don't know if you're aware, you know. Yeah, we changed the red behind, but Chris Schramm has got some mental health issues. A good friend of mine, I raced him as a partner for many, many years.
Good Newport rider.
Yeah, and I'm going to be honest, he rang me about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it was the strangest phone call ever. And I got it, and I spoke to my wife, and I said, that was strange. You know, it just didn't feel right. And I must be honest, I should have thought of that and thought, why is he not like that? Talk to him or talk to someone else. So if anyone's out there, any issues, because I know it's tough, mate, for everyone. Being locked in with the family is not easy as it is. But in general, you know, a rider is the same as you, me. If you're not a rider, if you are a rider. And that, you know, shows that speedway riders, we talk about when they finish their career, sometimes they can go off a cliff and it's hard for them. So keep a lookout for everyone, as well as on track, off track as well.
Right. Yeah, I'm very close to that, mental health issues, especially in Speedway, but on a personal level, I'm very close to it, and it's the sport somehow just seems to just kick people after they finish still as well, which is nasty.
Yeah, you know, you go from being the hero and the superstar to suddenly the next day, who cares?
Yeah,
you know, and that's like in any sport. You know, you're a hero to zero almost. Obviously, there's exceptions. The ones that's actual real legends, not like us, where we pretend to be legends. No.
Yeah. Oh, mate, all Jerry and I are doing is bringing comfort to people's homes during this crisis and giving them a touch of Speedway. We should be knighted.
Well.
Hey, Phil, as you touched, I've got the book from Ty. I've got a shirt from Midlow on its way in the post, although he doesn't know my address, but he'll have it soon. Roscoe's sending me something. What's my Compel and Flex Phil gonna?
Well, I can't send you a sandwich because I don't make them no more. I'll have to think what I can pull out of my Grand Prix cupboard.
Maybe a little access all areas Grand Prix experience, because I struggled to get into the Grand Prix still.
Oh yeah, you don't know.
Oh, look at the time, Jez. You said it was going to fly by, and it has as well, hasn't it?
Just while you've been talking, I have been trying to find something which is relevant to the Chris Graham thing. 2 seconds, I need to find the photo. Where is it?
This is Jerry. He's the producer. Well, I've been working all day, and he's just been sat at home on the computer.
Trying to work it out. No, this is something quite serious. So I don't know if you know Steve Luxton, but Steve Luxton set up this Speedway Riders support line.
Oh, great.
Now,
stuff.
this has been set up for any rider, any fan, anyone that's struggling with mental health. If you call that number, there's somebody on that other end of that line that will talk to you and help you out. And it's a great thing. And it, I mean, I've spoke to Steve and he said, you know, there's that phone is going quite regularly with current riders, previous riders, and like I said, even fans that are going through tough times. So that number, if anybody wants to call, is available to anyone. And I'll leave this in the comments afterwards as well.
Yeah, good to know people are using it, and that's important because you know, everyone's different. Everyone has their issues with things. But when you know it's people around you, and like I say, I had that phone call, and it just felt wrong. It didn't feel right on the phone call. It was almost like he was a bit drunk, but I knew he wasn't, and I should have followed that up. And I'm glad he's okay. So I'm glad, you know, there's lessons to be learned for everyone.
Look, Phil, I've always said, and all jokes aside, I really have. Are You Okay Day should be every day. It's a once a year thing, but it should be every day, and especially what we're going through now. People are connecting through, you know, all different means to try to get together. But on a serious note, asking someone, "Are you okay?" is it should be a daily occurrence, and like you said, you know, you take for granted that someone's on the other end of the line, mate. And glad you spoke about it. And a few people have mentioned already. It's a topic in our sport. It's a topic in every sport, whether you're on multi-millions a year or thousands a year. Are you okay? Especially now where people are stuck inside, being forced to come out of their, you know, their lifestyle or what they do, whether it's the freedom to go down the street or the freedom to go have a cup of tea with their mum. If someone that you know isn't right, just ask them, are they okay, and is there anything to do? So big up you, Phil, for bringing that awareness up, mate, and well done, Jerry, for the Steve Luxton thing, mate. It's a great number. We'll try to put that on our Facebook page as well.
I'll put it in the comments later after the video finishes. I'm just looking through the comments now.
Phil, do you remember falling off after a race at Reading while shaking hands with my Uncle Lance?
Yes, I do. Yeah, we caught handlebars, and he went down, and I jumped off and landed on my feet, so I was okay. But yeah, we scored a 5-1 as well. Unbelievable. It was really probably 17. It was heat 2, and we got a 5-1. And to be honest with you, I was the senior partner, and I think he was very excited. And I think he came up quite quick, and he sort of came into me, and one of us had to go over onto our footrest as there was no folding footrest then.
Yeah.
And over we went, and I managed to jump over the top of my bike, so I was okay. But he went down between them. We're both okay. But yeah, I do remember that. And
that happened with opposing teammates. I remember at Hull one night, Joe Scream was congratulating Jimmy Nilsson on a fine effort. And
not a
oh, that's gold, that video. I always bring that one up. It's just funny, isn't it? And the interviews afterwards.
When Screeny goes, I didn't really mean to eat chicken that.
I've actually spoken to Screeny about that, and he did say that's one of his things he regrets more than anything.
Yeah.
Good old Joe. Hey, listen, Phil. I know we had to bring this forward for different reasons. Hopefully, once there's more light and throughout the year, if you come on there and have a chat, mate, about things. We've got some things in the pipeline which we'll probably want to involve you in anyway, mate. But really appreciate your time tonight, bringing up things and giving us a nice insight. We could probably keep chatting. I know you've got more stories, but like Jerry said earlier today,
I was expecting this more. I'm thinking, what's he going to talk about? I thought he's going to talk about what I did, how I did it, my quiz shows, this and that.
Yeah, look, we're unscripted. We are, but I think it's the best way. We used to sit down for about an hour before each chat and run through things, and it goes out the window. And I think, you know, especially in this time, if you just let things flow and we talk about real life experiences and a bit of the blast from the past, mate, it seems to be cheering people up and giving them an insight to stories that some might have heard, but majority wouldn't have. And that's the idea. So really appreciate your time. It's been good, Phil. And listen, the names I used to call you, I never meant them.
It is definitely a love-hate, and I think
God.
everyone, that must be your thing. Like, it's a love-hate. Everyone loves you, but they also think, oh, it's Charlesy again sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I see. I think I'm comparable to a laxative. I'm manageable in small doses. and then now that's it. I reckon.
If you take too much, you're in the shit.
Well, you got it, Jerry. But really appreciate your time, mate. The house is looking fantastic in the background. Love to your family. Stay safe, mate. And many thanks again for giving us a little bit of an insight to a race director's job at the Grand Prix. Bud.
No problem. Same to you guys and everybody watching. Stay safe, and hopefully we'll see you on track soon. Fingers crossed.
Lovely. Cheers, buddy.
Speak
Cheers,
soon.
mate.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. Well, there we go. Another Speedway chat show.
It's
a good one.
He's a good guy, and and you got to feel for a little bit of Phil as well, don't you, Jez? Because he was that rider that actually raced in an era where people coming out of racing and going into looking good, and Phil kept to his will, but a good guy to have a chat. He's got plenty more stories up his sleeve, so hopefully once the GPs are on, we'll be able to get him on board and have a few more chats. Yeah,
for sure.
Right, so just to fill everyone in, I'm still working on my one job to get a super show going. Last night we did have a pre-run with a guest who's coming up. He was at his holiday house somewhere in the world and the internet wasn't too good, but we're assured that on Tuesday his internet will be good and it will be a blast from the past, Jerry.
Yep. Are we going to announce who it is? I think we should, because it's so left field, this one, that I think it will attract a certain type of person. So on Tuesday at 7 p.m, we have 2 times world champion Mr. Bruce Pennell. So Bruce Pennell is going to be on Tuesday at 7 p.m, and he's coming in from California. So yeah, should be a good one. And he's going to have good internet, apparently. He promised us.
I know. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. He's just a guy that was the pin-up boy of Speedway when I was a kid. So he's one of my first memories of world-class Speedway. So looking forward to that. Should be a good insight to what Bruce is up to.
Yesterday I told my mum, I said, "Oh, I'm going to have Bruce Pennell on the show," and she went, "Oh." And she was all excited, and she said, "Oh," she goes, "Bruce Pennell and Tony Briggs." She goes, "They were the pin-up boys in like when I was 12 years old." And so I think Mother will be tuning in as well.
yeah. So we're looking forward to that one. And Chips was my favourite TV show as a kid. So he did have his little Hollywood appearance as well, which I'm sure he'd be fun to talk about. So great stuff. Keep mentally aware. Hope everyone's still going through this. I know lockdown's easing everyone, but like Phil Morris just said, make sure the loved ones around you are safe and mentally well as well. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Before we go, Charlie, we've got one more thing to talk about, and that I was talking about earlier that I told you about. No, remember?
Let's do that Tuesday.
We're going to do that on Tuesday.
Yeah,
okay, we've got something really exciting to talk about on Tuesday, and it's something that is going to bring the whole sort of Speedway community together, I think, and it's really good. But it's something that came up today, and I think it could be a little bit rushed if we just announce it now. But we're going to announce something on Tuesday, which I think is really big for the whole Speedway community, and gives everybody an opportunity to.
And Sue Rutherford's still there, so she's looking so goodbye because she's got a cigar.
She looks like she's got a cigarette in her mouth.
Cheers. Stardom yum. Bye-bye from us.
Right, guys. It's been great. Again, same as last week. Thanks very much for all the comments, all the likes, shares. We had a guy called James Popham who I seen every group that I went on last week. He had posted our videos in there saying, "Go and check out the Speedway Chat Show." Like, wow, much appreciated. Any help or people that you can push this onto and get it out to as many people as possible, really appreciate it. And we will see you Tuesday.
Great stuff. Look forward to it. Good night.
Yeah. Bye-bye.